Greetings Boffins and welcome to the Boffin Lab. I'm Old Man Triton and this is a nano guide on how to mine crystals and do cave exploration in Star Citizen. Fortunately for this operation, you don't need a special ship. The Aurora is perfect for the job. The Aurora is small, can get into a lot of caves on its own, is easy to land, and is eminently expendable. You shouldn't actually need to worry about it at all. However, you do need particular sets of equipment, and we'll have a look at what they are right now. I've equipped myself with a set of MacFlex armor. I've got the Horizon helmet, which is the basic starting helmet, MacFlex core rucksack, chest piece, MacFlex legs, arms, and backpack. The backpack is very important. You need some place to keep your loot in this mission. I've also got a multi-tool and an orbit mining attachment. Because even though you're going looking for a missing person, that's not the real attraction of these missions. You're mining. You're going to be mining crystals. And if you happen to find the poor fellow that got lost, that's an extra bonus. I've recorded some quick guides to where you can buy these equipment. I'm assuming everybody's starting around Microtech, so I've got where you go from Aspire Grand. If you're in the foyer, you just head over to Kelto and you look at the terminal there. If you're in the Commons, you go start where everybody's doing yoga, move to the plaza and go over to the Shubin terminal, and that is where you find your armor and tools and equipment. If you're headed to Port Tresla, you run down to the Galleria, take a hard right, and run into the equipment facilities. Now, the MacFlex is the cheapest armor set that you can get on for this mission. It's not the best armor set you can get, but it's the cheapest. You can also get the Venture armor set, which is available from the Kelto at the Aspire Grand. An alternative is the Ariel armor set, which is slightly more expensive but is technically medium armor and can allow you to equip a bigger backpack, which means you can come back with more loot. This depends on how much money you've got available to you. I've made the assumption that you've got an aura, 10,000 credits, and no actual equipment. However, if you've done the courier missions that I listed in an earlier video, there's a good chance that you have a few bits and pieces already available to you and you can save yourself some money. I've listed on screen the values of the different bits of armor that I've suggested and how much you outlay for the kit. The critical pieces of kit are listed in red. Now for this tutorial I'm going to assume you know how to fly and how to get places, so I'm not going to record the entire trip to the cave and the entire trip back or any of the in fact I'm going to skip over a lot of the actual searching throughout the cave. I'm going to show you what you want to do when you get there, how to get into the cave, how to find rocks to mine, and what to do about navigating in a complex maze of caverns and tunnels. Now, one of the things that I highly recommend you get hold of is some flares. If you've done the courier missions, you may have found a bunch of flares available. If you cannot find flares in loot crates, you can buy them on the market in one of the terminals. I don't currently have any flares on me, so I'm going to have to go with my natural instincts. You must have a helmet, even if it's on a planet that you can breathe on. The reason why is the helmet is where your torch is. T to turn on your torch. If you don't have your helmet, you don't have your torch. Now, the contract that you're looking for is an investigation contract. Use F1 to come to your mobiGlas and click on the contract section. Go to the investigation section and have a look through the contracts. You're looking for a missing client contract, and they've been boosted in their value very lately. They used to be only $4,000 for a successful find. Now they're $12,000 for a successful find. Read the contract carefully to make sure that it's sending you to a cave. Okay? That is what you want. Some of these other contracts are missing persons that have been lost in combat, missing persons that have been lost in a ship accident, and so on. But you want the one that takes you to a cave. This one's sending me to a cave on Microtech, and very importantly, it tells me the cave can only be accessed on foot. We'll have to land outside and walk in. However, some caves are big enough to fly into, and some you can reach with a ground vehicle. Read the details so you know which it is. Accept the offer, and we'll be on our way. Now I've undocked and I'm looking at the locate missing person marker in my screen that is for the contract that I've taken. You got to make sure your contract is tracked in order for this marker to come up. Now you will not be able to warp to this marker as far as I can tell. I'm going to give it a try. See if I can click the marker. No, it won't let me click the marker. But it does tell me that there is a very close facility to it. And I can just go to that facility and burn from there. So I set course to the facility, power up my quantum drive, align, and go into warp. We'll skip all this as I approach the cave, and I will show you the scene you'll see as you get closer. As we approach the cave, I will give you a word of warning. Caves are sometimes mission sites for other people, particularly people doing combat missions. So I'm dropping out of quantum travel mode in order to bring my shields up, just in case there is somebody else there. This is not an armistice zone. People can shoot you in this location, but it's just as possible that there be NPCs here over the cave site. The cave site will look like a dark hole in the ground or a cluster of rocks as you get closer. I've arrived at the cave, and it turns out it's not as easily accessed as the contract said it would be. A quick investigation of the outside told me that there was no physical way to climb down into it, so I'm using the advantage of the Aurora's small size to fly into the cave. Now, there's a little bit of a bug with entering a cave like that, and that is that you can't easily see the inside until you cross a threshold. So I am slowly going down to the lower level. I might have a quick look to see whether there's any upper levels. This is a suggestion that there is in fact a higher level. See, there's a ground floor down there, and those little arrows indicate minables that we're looking for. But if you look at the investigation points, there's several on this level. So I'm going to land on this spot here and have a look around here first.
Landing complete. Engines are off.
Now that I'm inside the cave, my body temperature levels have stabilized. I have a look around to see where all the markers are, and there are several in that direction. So I'm going to head off in that direction and see what I can find. There's several in that direction too, also on the same level as I am. So, what I do have to do is teach you how to set up the multi-tool, and I'll just step into the light to make that easier. The multi-tool has been equipped to my hip. Pushing 5 on my keyboard will equip it. Pushing J, well, I don't know why I put it away, but pushing J will allow me to look at the multi-tool attachment screen. Click on the multi-tool attachment and then mouse over the panel. And then you can scroll wheel to all the different attachments you have in the inventory of your suit. I'm going to click on the orbit mining attachment and fit it. And then I can get out by hitting J again. Alright. One of the suggestions I make to all cave explorers is either use flares to mark your way or follow a wall, a left-hand wall or a right-hand wall, and keep to it until you can't get anything. I'm going to follow the left-hand wall. Just going to pop up here and have a look around, and then I'm going to search. Now, these searches could take a while, and you might not ever find the poor missing guy. But what you are looking for is also mineable materials. When I find one or the other, I will cut to that point and get you started. This is an important point. Sometimes you will have to crouch to get through areas, and sometimes you will have to crawl. Watch your footing. Sometimes there are holes in the ground. Okay, we'll skip on to the next bit. So I looked over here and I noticed crystal rocks. They usually have distinct colors. They've got little glass-like crystals sticking out of them, and there's several of them here. Now, with the orbit mining attachment fitted, right-click to aim down sights and point it at the rock. Let it scan. So that you can see more easily, I'm going to turn off the torch. Now you can see the HUD. Okay? To mine this rock, I want to increase power until the gauge gets into the green zone on the left. I want to balance the power so it stays there and does not go into the red. If the gauge goes into the red, the rock has a chance of exploding, which could do damage to you and scatter the crystals far and wide. So, left click toggles the laser on. When the laser is on, you can start ramping the power up by holding left Alt and using the mouse wheel to change the power. You will see the power rating on the middle of the mining tool as yellow bars. Suddenly a white bar with a little triangle has appeared on the left gauge and is slowly rising towards the green zone. Keep your mining laser in one place if you can, because as you move it, it changes the range, which also changes the power that's been applied. So try to keep your hands off the mouse. As you get closer to the green zone, wind back on the power, and then when you're in the green zone, balance it so it stays in one place. Wait for the green bar to fill sideways to the left. Once it does, the rock will break. The laser turns off automatically and the crystals go all over the floor. Turn on the torch again so you can see the crystals. Now you can pick up these crystals by hand just like you would pick up anything else using F and store. But your mining laser comes with a tractor beam attached to it. Hit B for Bravo to toggle that to the second mode. Hold down the left mouse button and point at the crystals to start vacuuming up the crystals. Now it currently has a bug where it throws those crystals at your face like you're being assaulted, but you should get 10 crystals from each rock. And we'll look at our inventory and there's 10 Hadanite crystals. I recommend Hadanite is the only thing you bother to mine unless you find Jadanite, which is very, very rare. But you fill up your backpack with Hadanite. If you fill up your backpack with Hadanite, you will get at least 12,000 credits, which is what this mission is worth if you succeed at it. So mining is your next step. You go onto the next rock, check what it is, decide if you want to mine it, and go on. You've got an option here. Your backpack has a limited space. You can always fill the backpack and go back and sell it all. Okay? But there's a second option. You can go back to your ship, load what you've mined into your ship, and then come back and mine some more, and continue looking for the poor guy that's been lost. The difference between the two options is, if everything is on your person, you can always log out and keep it all. You'll just appear at the station you last docked at. You'll keep everything that you have equipped and everything in your backpack, but you will lose everything in your ship because you will have to claim your ship on insurance. Up to you which risk you want to take. Think about it carefully. Now I'm going to have a quick look around and see if I can find the guy, but typically you would spend your whole time mining and then hope that you find the guy while you're doing it. We'll just cut and see if I can find him in this maze of tunnels. Here's a hint for navigating these tunnels. See these rocks that look kind of squared off and have yellow paint on them? Well, if you walk up to them and push spacebar, you can climb them. And there are intended to be ways out of pits. They're not always very effective or easy to climb, but they are ways of getting to places. So you can see over there seems to be a ladder up there, and there's 2 more investigation points over that way. So I'm going to make a jump and see what I can find. To my intense surprise, I have stumbled upon the remains of my quarry. He is lying on the ground right here in front of me. And all I have to do in order to complete the mission is to search his body. Crouch to get close, hold F, and search the corpse. You'll get the mission complete notification and you get paid. So it's possible to get 2 batches of money from this operation at the same time. And there just happens to be 2 nodes of Hadanite next to the body. These guys occasionally have a little bit of useful loot on them, but not very much. These fruit, vegetables and harvestables that they tend to carry are not very profitable at all. And you don't have the cargo space with which to swap out this equipment and keep the ones you have. But if you want to actually change your equipment for what he's wearing, you can go ahead and do that. Just make sure you keep your gems and your food and water if you brought some along. Once you get back to your main base and you've completed the mission, just move the crystals that you've mined into the local inventory. That's going to make it easier for you. Don't forget to move any crystals that you've stored on your ship into the inventory too, and then stack them up in one hit. Then go find an administration center or a planetary administration center and go to the terminals, the commodity shop. Select the location of Port Tresla in this case, or the local planet, and you'll find that Hadanite is in demand, and it's worth 275 a unit. That gets us 13,750 credits if we sell the lot, plus the 12,000 that we got from completing the mission. The beauty of this mission is that you can go back to the mission site over and over again as long as you haven't found the missing person, and you can continue to farm all the crystals that are there. You'll eventually find the missing person, and then you will be able to get the reward. However, you're always provided with the opportunity to log out and leave. If you're lost, if you're stuck down a hole in the ground, if you can't find your way back to the ship, or you're bugged out in any way, log off. You'll come back to your last port of call with everything that you've mined, all of your equipment. You'll only lose what's on your ship. That's it for this tutorial. Thank you very much for watching. Please like and subscribe. Consider donating to my Patreon. And good hunting and have fun in space.